So, we now have a 7th Star Wars movie, a new beginning to another trilogy, and it wasn't trash this time, it was pretty good! It's actually pretty decent, and at least no one's hyping it up for the late viewers too much, and oh no, people are exaggerating. The others, they'll go in with expectations. Abort! Well, cancerous hype culture aside, it definitely felt like a Star Wars movie, which is good. But you know, I haven't yet had the chance to revisit the classic OT lately, so I should really go back and give them another watch. By the way, that's Original Trilogy for those not hip and cool. But why watch roughly 6 hours of movie when you can play a 3-hour game? I'm sure it'll be fine. Yep, it's Star Wars Trilogy Apprentice of the Force. Alright, the opening looks promising, and I remember this game being pretty cool. It is a period of civil war. Rebel space with, oh, what the fuck? My grandparents should have bundled this fucking game with some glasses. We get some opening exposition from, wait, I'm sorry, you know what I mean, right? When you get two gifts bundled together, like they're wrapped separately in the same wrapping paper, and sometimes you're not even told, so you open the smaller gift first and you're like, what the hell is this, Mom? Spider-Man silly string? Am I getting a web shooter? And you open up the big gift and surprise, surprise, it's a goddamn web shooter and the satisfaction's gone? You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, after Exposition Central, the first level starts, Luke making his way to the Lars homestead, the objective being meet Uncle Owen. The thing is, Luke, you got your blaster out, homeboy. Are we fucking doing something else after the meeting part? So you know how this goes. R2 goes missing and we head off to find him. Man, remember the part in A New Hope when Luke genocided the Tusken Raiders? Like father, like son.
I don't like sand.
The animation is surprisingly fluid and looks really sweet. It's one of the main reasons it's so easy to get lost in this game. The music kinda rocks as well, especially for a lesser-known title on the GBA. The sound effects are what you'd expect from Star Wars, nothing too crazy, except for this really intriguing grunt Luke utters when you hoist yourself up from a ledge. But it's not all good, and I know I touched upon it before, but these blue storybook parts are just an uninteresting nuisance. Yeah, Luke, I get it, your only parental figures are dead, you're devastated, I'm sure, but can we please get back to shooting things? Surprisingly though, the Mos Eisley level does just that. In the movie, they wanted to keep kind of a low profile, but never mind that, we got shit to do. This stage introduces doors that require keycards and shit, nothing too groundbreaking besides learning a dash move. You shoot a lot of stormtroopers, and that was honestly my highlight. That's another neat little thing. As you learn more moves and get trained more, you have a progression bar that shows how close you are to becoming a Jedi on the pause screen. It's a cool way to sense your progression besides, well, crazy shit like this. The Death Star level isn't very notable. Pretty boring, TBH fam. But oh my god, is the X-Wing segment fun as hell. You're just shooting down TIE fighters like it's going out of fucking style. The trench run gets pretty treacherous, but ultimately isn't that bad. The animations are super awesome here too. Han then saves your ass and you blow up the Death Star. Good job, team. Now, off to the nearest intergalactic Denny's to celebrate! After that, you can start right up on Empire. The Hoth levels are pretty neat, but ultimately kinda bland besides a palette swap. You do get your lightsaber though, and that's pretty sick. It makes it much easier to dispose of enemies, like Wampas. More genocide and stuff, you know, NBT. Man, I didn't realize how much Lucas changed with the new special editions, and I wish there was more to say about the Dagobah and Bespin levels, but in all honesty, there's not much. Dagobah's just a lot of force pushing and platforming, but it does have this one weird part. Yoda sends me off for more force practice, but then reprimands me every time I step into a tiny patch of swamp water. Yoda, could you please explain to me what the fuck the floor is lava has to do with Jedi training? Because I'd like to know. What, is it super important? Because if that were the case, I should have been a Jedi at age 6. This segment includes that encounter with Phantom Vader, but afterwards, Bespin's just a lot of killing stormtroopers and probe droids making your way to the iconic showdown. The battle with Vader is super intense. Just like in the movie, you start off in the carbonite freezing chamber, just trying to hold your own, and you can even get frozen if you're not careful enough. Then you have to get to the next section where Vader sends a lot of shit your way. Like I said, super intense. You get thrust out the window and the screen slowly pans as you try your best to hold your own against Vader. After hitting him enough, he'll knock you down and say those famous words. Luke, as you'd expect, is horrified. No! A beautiful moment in cinematic history. Well, we're almost done. Time for episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Yeah, Han's and Carbonite and shit, I get it. Man, for some reason, I just don't think I'm getting the full Star Wars experience. After a few years of allowing Han to ripen in his Carbonite prison, it's finally time for a rescue. The assault on Jabba's palace is a lot more violent than I remember, but then again, that's just kind of par for the course at this point. Thank God this is the level you finally learn a healing move, otherwise I would have never made it through. After the 2 Tatooine levels, we're immediately on Endor, racing scout troopers in a strangely really uninteresting speeder bike level. Like, you'd think it'd be fun or something, but in all honesty, it's just hard, boring, and there's nothing to say about it. It sucks that such an exciting part of the movie was reduced to just a pretty lame sequence. What follows are two sequential hard-as-shit Endor levels. Stormtroopers and wild beasts are everywhere, and they don't hold back. I died more times in these two levels than the entire rest of the game. Unless your reflexes are inhuman, you need to use the healing power. The best part is you can just sit down and start healing in the middle of a fight and they can't do shit. At least that was my strategy until I realized this was a move you could do. I don't know if you can imagine, but it does make it significantly easier. Once you finally make it to Vader, he delivers you to the Emperor. He forces you to fight your father, but the story gets in the way. Luke says he doesn't want to fight. Speak for yourself, dude. I want to fuck this guy up. Well, I guess I did it. Now I just feel like a dick. Jesus, look how frail the Emperor is. He looks like he'd disintegrate if the wind picked up a bit. We're about to throw this guy down a fucking Death Star tube. There's not much time to feel sorry for him because he starts shooting Luke with his Force lightning. Luckily, Vader remembers the glimmer in his eye that was once Luke and just casually strolls on up to let out probably 2 decades worth of bottled up, deep-seated hatred for his boss. Then, Luke and Vader have a nice father-son moment, and then Luke finishes up the story by retelling to us how he burned the body of his second father figure to get rid of any evidence.